what I really want to have is that little thing where it goes boop, boop.
Yeah.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The
Yes, I
BBC
think.
test card thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Good evening, folks. Bloody hell, this is the first waffle I've done for Christ knows, I don't know. Anyway, happy New Year.
Yes.
What am I saying? Happy New Year. Yeah, I've got Mr. Giles in this evening. How you doing, Squire?
Hello. Yeah. I'm here still in the world of the living. Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching. I mean, as you know, I'm not a big film fan, so I don't really have a lot to get out of what you and Ian talk about. But I
Ah.
was watching it from the start yesterday, and I got quite into it. I mean, I was asking quite a few questions, and I think a big part of sort of live streams is playing actually taking part in the conversation. The only problem, and I think I've said to you before, and I know you know it's a problem, is you talk for about 20 minutes, and then so if somebody's only going to come in for 5 minutes and they post a comment, they've not got a cat in hell's chance of actually hearing what you've got to say about it.
Well, I noticed when you came in, and I go, look, he might not be here for long. I said, I just need to say something, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
my friend Alan's in, etc., etc. But you got some good answers there. Sinners, I mentioned to you. That's a really good one. You
I've
mentioned
written,
some stuff on
I've
there.
written. Hang on, I wrote them down. Yeah, sorry, folks. Craig and I are just talking off the record here. Yeah, I was watching Craig's and Ian's Wednesday. I thought it was yesterday. It couldn't have been. It must have been
Wednesday.
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 Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's predominantly around films because I know Ian is considerably older. He'll not mind me saying that than you and
Yeah.
I, and he knows nothing about video games. I mean, am I right in thinking he's got zero interest?
He's got zero interest in computer games, but he everything else. So we talk on there about records, TV, toys that we used to buy,
Yeah,
all of
yeah.
that sort of stuff. I mean, he'll whenever I talk about something like I don't know, Simon or Merlin, right? He'll come up with Meccano and Lego. It's quite good, really. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just computers and technology. He's a bit of a technophobe, and he has struggles with. I mean, he doesn't take it like this. He hates the film Tron.
I
So,
saw that. Yeah. I've got to say, that's a film I've never seen. Never seen Tron.
oh my god, yeah.
Should I add it to my list?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was asking all the lads. There's nothing at the moment. The problem I've got when I'm sitting in front of my TV, and I think, right, I tend to end up going into YouTube and just watching YouTube. But I think, right, I'm going to watch a film tonight, and I end up. What did I start? I started watching a film the other day that I can't remember for the life of me, and I watched it for 10 minutes. And I just thought I would rather watch something else, and I put it off. And I think I ended up watching some Laurel and Hardy shorts. And I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
and that's the problem. I keep going back to all the films from like yesteryear, but I know there has to be some good films coming out. So I asked the lads, including Dale and Ian, I said, "Can you give me 5 films that are worth watching?" So some of them that you mentioned, Sinners, I've managed to find that and bookmark it. One battle after another, I found that
That's
one.
that's considered to be the best film of last year.
Oh, is it really? Fantastic. There was the Station Agent. I couldn't find that, although I could probably find it.
Yeah, that's quite an obscure one.
Is it? Yeah, well, you know what I like. I like kind of gritty British dramas. I do like war films. You know the kind of stuff that I like. Would I
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the
yeah.
station? Would I like the Station Agent? Do you think?
Yeah. You probably will do. Sinners is like oh, what's that film with Quentin Tarantino and Gene and George Clooney? Um,
Oh, Dust Till Dawn.
Dust Till Dawn. It's like that.
Christ, I don't believe I actually got a film that you did.
No. I was just going. I couldn't. I've got it in my head, and I could see the cover, and I was going, "Oh, for goodness' sake!"
I've got an anecdote about Dust Till Dawn. I was in a nightclub with my mate, and I got off with this lassie, and then we swapped phone numbers. In fact, no, we didn't swap. Did we swap phone numbers? Yeah, we must have. But it would the phone. It wouldn't have been a mobile. That's how long ago it was. It wasn't mobiles. We
No.
swapped phone numbers.
So that's when it was a bit dangerous giving your phone number out.
Yeah, we went. We went out. We went to the Edinburgh Film. Oh, what the hell was it called? It was Film Centre, Film Club or something. And we went to see Dusk Till Dawn, and she spent the whole fucking night talking about how gorgeous George Clooney was. So that
Oh,
was. I
Christ.
don't think it went beyond the second day. But yeah. The station agent. So is it? So you reckon I might enjoy it then?
Yeah. I mean, I've only seen that film once.
Yeah.
I thought it was all right. The both films that we both agreed on, Ian and I, was The Life of Chuck. You'll like that.
As in Chuck.
The Life of Chuck. It's a Stephen King novel turned into a film.
So it's got nothing to do with Chucky. No.
No. It's called The Life of Chuck.
Yeah. In fact, I'll tell you what. Oh, what the hell was it? I started watching. You know what I started watching? Salem's Lot, the new version.
Oh well, the new version. The new version is quite a beat for beat remake, but I still prefer the old one. Nothing will beat the old one. The old one was brilliant. Especially if you watch the 3-hour version, not the cut down version. You know, the two-parter that we watched on BBC that was used to be on a bank holiday.
That's right. You know what? That out of any horror film, I mean, I'm not into horror films because I'm a big scaredy cat. But out of any horror films, was he called? What was the vampire? Was he Barlow? No. What was the vampire called?
The Marston House. He was.
What was he called? He had a proper name, didn't he?
Oh yeah. But
who was Barlow? Was Barlow like his partner or something?
Barlow wasn't Barlow. James Mason was the curator.
Yeah. So what was
David Soul was the person who came back to his hometown and found it eerie.
So did the vampire have a name? Did he have? I thought.
Yeah. But I'm just trying to think.
Or something. No,
it's only mentioned a couple of times.
Yeah,
I
think that character is fucking terrifying.
I mean, it looked like the vampire that you'd get in Nosferatu.
Yeah, it was based on Nosferatu, but it's absolutely terrifying. Can you imagine if that fucking thing appeared in your living room? You would absolutely.
Well, the thing that scared me, and it's the thing that my sister brings up all the time, is it's the little boys tapping at the window saying, "Let me in."
Yeah.
You know, and then when you let it in, that's it. You've let a vampire in. That'll have you.
And then the guy in the rocking chair as well, I think.
Oh well, yeah, he was the one who drove a truck that brought the vampire to the town, and then he dug the grave for the little boy, and he jumped onto the coffin, and he got bitten on the neck, and then he went into the preacher's house. He said, "Gonna get you, preacher." Yes, and he had these eyes, but he was in Every Which Way But Loose. He was in an Every Which Way You Can, and a lot of other films. He was part of my childhood.
Yeah, but no, I loved. So I started watching it, and I kind of put it off. The other one I've got here is, I don't know if I wrote it down. Is it Anthropod or Anthropoid?
P-O-I-D. Anthropoid, and I haven't seen that one myself.
No, I couldn't find that one. There's one that I could find. We need to talk about, Kevin.
Yeah.
I've got that one. Arctic. Couldn't find that one.
No,
Arctic. I found one called Arctic, but it was from like 1996 or something.
See, some of them bring up some quite obscure ones, or ones that they've seen at a festival and things like that.
I got you. Then there's one called The Hunt. It's got Mads Mikkelsen. Is that?
Yeah. So I know of it and haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, and then there's Insidious.
Insidious. Yeah, that's quite old. That's quite easy to get hold of. I've got it. Brilliant. It's a one of them heart pulling ones. Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. So is that spelled Insidies? Insidious.
Yeah.
Right, I wrote that down right. And what was that last one you mentioned there? I was going to write down.
Oh, Life of Chuck.
Life of Chuck. That's what it was. Right. Okay, so yeah, thank you for that. I'm gonna.
I mean, I've got some that I can send. I mean, there's Nuremberg, that's on Sky at the moment.
Yeah.
There's the Running Man, the new one.
Was that worth seeing?
Yeah, because it's based where the older Running Man with Arnold Schwarzenegger is a perfectly good enough film, and it's an all action type film.
Yeah.
This Running Man is based mostly on the book, and the book was that he was in a game show, and you had a year. You had to stay away from everybody for a year. If people collared you, they could grab you, and that would be the end of the game show. So he's on the run for a year. Now that wouldn't work in today's society because there's too much CCTV. It'd be like Minority Report. You know, your eyes get scanned, and everybody knows where you are. It'd be like that. So Running Man wouldn't work. But they changed it for Schwarzenegger just purely because they wanted to do more a reality TV satire, and Running Man was more about action on the run for a year and how you can stay on the lam, as they call it, for a year. How can you do that? You know, but he has to, otherwise he's dead. You know, that's the end. You know, if he gets caught. So it's sort of like a fugitive, but for a year.
Yeah, I'll write that down as well. The new Running Man.
Yeah, the new Running Man.
Fantastic. Yeah. Anyway, listen,
But that's films. We're not here to talk about films.
Yeah, we're here to. Yeah, I had a hankering to. As much as I say I'm falling out of love with video games, it's not the old stuff. I've just got zero interest, absolutely zero interest in modern stuff. You know, more third-person shooters and third-person shooters, whatever. But I just had I thought I want to talk about video games. I want to talk about what is the best 8-bit. Sometimes you just get drawn back into it, and that's what I wanted to do tonight. So I called on my good old mate, Mr. G. So anyway, yeah, just we'll not go into details or any spoilers, but I know you had quite a quiet Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
and birthday and New Year and
yeah, I know.
There's nothing now for me to look forward to now, really, until Christmas.
Yeah.
My birthday's gone, New Year's gone, Christmas is gone.
Yeah.
That's it.
I'm glad it's gone, and I'm looking forward to better weather.
I didn't fancy being another year older, but I made it. So you know.
Yeah. So So what are you playing at the moment, games wise? I obviously I know time. Your personal time is very limited, but are you playing any games at the moment? Are you still playing like I can never remember the name of it. What's that? Not Demon Hunter. What's the name of that game you gave me? Demon.
Oh, Vampire
Chronicles.
Vampire Survivor, isn't it?
Yeah.
I do on occasion put the odd blast on the mister because I like to just put something on 5 minutes later and I can go and see my mum, come back, put the thing on, play it, and all that sort of stuff. Because everything on Steam tends to be something that you need to spend a little bit of time on, and I don't have more than about 20 minutes and before I've got to go away, and it takes you out the immersion of a story or whatever those things are. But there's Steve bought me a game called Bellwright, and I tried a mini stream last night to check the voice levels. So I'm going to probably do something like that this weekend because you're going on holiday, aren't you?
I'm away. Yeah, I'm away to Benidorm Sunday morning, early.
Yeah, you liked Benidorm the last time you went there out of season, didn't you?
Oh, it's brilliant. And you know the reason that I go is because I detest this time of year so much. Yeah. And I think I was talking to Lee and I says, oh, we should maybe go on holiday. I thought, oh, yeah. And then but somebody at my work had mentioned Benidorm, and I thought, really, Benidorm's a shithole. Spoke to quite a few people, and so we went last year and we had a great time. I mean, it's if you're willing to embrace it for what it is. It's not like a 5. Well, I mean, saying that the hotel that we stayed in was beautiful. The food was excellent. If you're willing to just embrace it for what it is, we're not into. Lee doesn't drink. I hardly drink, so we're not going there to get pished. We're not going to be going up the strip where you get like 5 shots for £1. We're going to avoid that like the plague. But yeah, just it's great. I'm looking forward to getting away. The only downside to it, I was laughing at Steve and all right for some, and I'm thinking, no, that's my summer holiday. Yeah. I'm just having it really, really early, which is a pain in the ass because by the time you get to July, you've got fuck all holidays left. You know what I mean? But yeah, looking forward to getting away. So you
Yeah,
were talking about games, video
yeah.
games.
So there's a game called Bell Right that I'm looking forward to getting into. A game that Steve and I bought on the same day, which was the 5th of January, is a game called Star Rupture, which is like it's a sort of a planet. You won't know these games. Planet Crafter type game. You know you're on a you're a prisoner. You're on a planet, and they say, right, you need to mine this planet and pay off your debt, and then we'll blast you off the planet. So you go around farming asteroids and all that sort of stuff, then setting up a factory and making ore and all this sort of stuff, and you have to craft yourself a habitat so that so that you've got air and all of that sort of stuff. But the interesting mechanic in that game is every 50 minutes in real time in the game, the whole planet gets destroyed with fire, and then it takes about 2 minutes for it to cool down, and the whole planet regenerates again, and in 50 minutes the same thing happens again. You have to be inside your habitat, otherwise you die. That's it.
Okay,
You're dead.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting mechanic. But there's a twin shooter that Jambon bought me. I don't.
Let me know what it is.
Now it looks like and plays like Geometry Wars. Do you remember Geometry Wars?
Yeah.
So if you like Geometry Wars, that's great. I'll see if I can find out the name of it, because I just don't.
Please do.
I loaded it. I installed it yesterday.
Yeah,
I'm really looking forward.
Geometry Wars is a great game, but it's very difficult very, very quickly, I think.
Well, this one's not quite that bad. And it's called, oh Christ, it's got a weird font. Sector. Yeah, Sector.
How do you spell that?
Sector.
Oh, Sector. All right, okay, and it's on Steam. Right, Craig, you're I don't know what's going on. Your volume is still going in and out every and again, and it didn't happen with your old computer. So I
know it. What it is, I've tried. I mean, at the moment the volume's at 100%. Let's have a look.
Yeah, my mate George is just saying that that your audio's kind of going in and out, peaking and cutting off constantly. Yeah.
And you see, I've just checked, and the volume's gone down to 8 again, and it's doing it again.
That's
I don't know what it is.
Strange. I never ever noticed it before in any of your videos. It just seems to have been the last few I've watched. Obviously, it was last night.
It's only doing it when I'm on live, doing something on live, and I did find out something about how to fix it, and it doesn't look like it's worked. This was the first time of me trying again.
Yeah,
make it work, but it's not working again.
It's not a deal breaker. You can still hear it, but your voice is like at a certain level, and then it just kind of fades out into the distance, and then it gets loud again.
Yeah, I'm just trying to fix it again now. If I can do it, I will. But anyway, carry on. So that was those are the games I've been playing. Other than what's been playing on the Mister, I've been playing old stuff. Right?
Did you have a look at I think I sent you a game very, very similar to Dragon. What's it called? Again, it's a twin stick shooter.
Yeah, Hall of Monument or something.
Yeah. I played that one.
Yeah,
I think it's great. It's actually a bit easier. I think it's really good. It's almost identical. I mean, it's similar kind of mechanics, but I think it's really, really good. I think they're a lot deeper than you actually think. You think it's a basic shoot 'em up, but there is actually a lot. It's especially that Demon Chronicles thing or whatever it's called. There's a lot vampire. I can never remember the bloody name of the thing. So anyway, yeah. So you're obviously dipping in and out of games. What am I playing? I'm embarrassed to tell you, I've gone back to Power Wash Simulator. Honestly, that game, I have never ever played a game that's so addictive. It's ridiculous. It's just I mean, over the Christmas, I started playing it, and I would, and I don't know if you've played it before. It's very, very it's really easy to get like 99%, but it's looking for that last 1%. You can spend ages and ages and ages, and I'll look at the time, and it'll be like 10 to midnight. Right, I'll just fucking finish this. I'll get to 100%, and then I'm going to go to bed. And then you finish it, and then you go into a new one. And you think, I'll just wash that wall. I'll just wash these stairs, and before you know it, it's 1 o'clock, and you're fucking halfway into the next level. It's ridiculous. I don't recommend anybody plays it because it's like digital crack. So
Yeah.
that's pretty much what I've been playing. The only other gaming I did, you mentioned it in your stream yesterday, is the, what's it called again? Terminator 2D. What's it? Something state, whatever it is. The bitmap bureau game. Absolutely fantastic. It's I did a short video of it, and it's a game that I've been following it for quite a long time. All the graphics are hand drawn. It's like it's a nostalgia rush. You know, it takes you right back to the Amiga days. And it's beautiful. It plays so well. I think you mentioned again in your stream about it's meant to be not that. I think you could maybe complete it in an hour, whatever it is. But there's a lot of replay when you change the skill level. It doesn't Baddies don't just get faster or shoot quicker. You actually more things appear, so you're getting a lot of replay value as well. But
Yeah.
if you're into like run and gun type games and you want a bloody good game, then buy it. I mean, you could wait for it to come down in price, but Lee got it for my Christmas, so
Yeah.
love it. And more importantly, it's like a game from the olden days. You've got your box. You've actually got a wee mini manual, and then you've got your proper thick manual. They
Yeah.
even give you a little sort of medal thing, the Terminator, and you also get this lovely kind of poster that's like a print on cloth. So brilliant! I can't recommend it enough.
One thing you didn't say though was, would you recommend buying it on the system that you bought it for? Or would you buy the Switch version or the PC version or whatever? You know.
I think. I mean, it's not a taxing game. It's not. I think it would look identical. It's going to look identical in any system that you play. I bought it for my Xbox 360 or my Xbox, whatever the fuck you call it, because I can lie in a settee like that with my socks off and just rather than I'm not a big fan of sitting at a PC and playing games. You know, I don't
It's
know.
just one of those. It's one of those things where I thought, well, if you bought it on Steam, you could play it on your PC, but you could also play it on your Steam Deck. So that would give
True.
you the two bits.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I must admit, I don't. I very, very rarely use my Steam Deck. Lovely bit of kit, but I very rarely use it. But no, if I wanted it on this. Always think companies should think about giving you an option to, like, yeah, you can buy it for your Switch, you can buy it for your PC, but if you buy it for one for like full price, you can also buy it for like five. If I buy it for the Xbox, if I pay an extra £5, I get it for the Switch. If I pay an extra £5, I get it for the PC. At the end of the day, it's not costing them anything. It's merely a digital download. But
Yeah.
there's no way that I'm going to buy it for anything else because I've already paid full money. But if they put it to £5 each, I would gladly buy it on everything. If Mr. Tucker's watching this, there's one for you, Mike. Think about it. Now, any seriously though, I think that's a really good idea. I mentioned that before to somebody. You know, by all means, charge the person full price. But if you've already bought it in one system, then you get it at a discounted price. Because
Yeah.
you might want to be sitting down here and playing it, and you think, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to go to my bed. I'll play it on my Steam Deck. And it's going to bring in. It can only bring in more revenue for these companies. I mean, I can't imagine many people would pay for it twice unless we
Yeah.
have too much money. I don't know.
That's why I thought the most popular thing it would be sold on would be Steam, because of the Steam Deck and the Switch, because you can plug that into a TV, can't you, with a HDMI connector? So you've got it portable and you've got it.
True. Yeah. I never really thought about that.
But I saw the £100 edition with an art book and all sorts of stuff and a tin box it comes in, and I thought, my God, but those days are behind me. I think £100.
I never really saw the appeal of buying these games. I mean, one of my mates, he used to, like you with your steelbook things, whatever it is, he would always buy the biggest, most expensive edition where you'd get models and get this and get that. I just bought the cheapo one, you know what I mean? I never really saw the point of it. But each to their own, you know. I'm not into any models and that, which takes me on very, very nicely to 3D printers. Yeah, one of our mutual friends who's watching at the moment, he's got a 3D printer that he's looking to sell, and I was like, great price.
He's in the room.
Yeah, I know. He's a complete bastard as well, isn't he?
He's a complete git.
He is. I know. Nobody likes him.
He's cheeky as well, right? He lives on the coast, and he's just said, "Are you going to bring me back a stick of rock from your holiday?" When am I going to get a stick of rock from him? He lives on the coast. He could be sending me a stick of rock whenever he bloody well wants, and he doesn't. Like bastard.
But yeah, I was sitting on the fence. I needed, and then I just thought to myself, what am I going to do with it? For me personally, one of my mates he's got a really, he's on his third 3D printer, and I think that the one he's got now is like, it, from the floor it probably stands about 2 feet. It's like, put it this way, these film things that I'm involved in, he's been printing a lot of weapons, full-size weapons, and they look the dog's bollocks. He paints them and all that. So he's got a real like professional one. So he does lots of things. He's always printing stuff. He prints medals for like Kuxio martial arts. He's printing stuff. He printed himself a big massive shower head. So it's great. So he printed all kinds of stuff. But I'm thinking, what would I use it for? There's only so many little cartoon characters or video game characters that you could print. And I'm thinking, nah, what am I going to do with it? What you mentioned that you could print models and paint them and this kind of stuff.
One of the things is that I don't want to print anything really too bad, but things like this happen with my old PC. Now this is an old drive bay door thing, but the plastic gets brittle. You'll see that the plastic's broken on this side. You could 3D print that, and that's what your drive would fit in, and it would slot back in.
Yeah, how would you be able to print that? Would you have to download like an image file or something?
Oh, there's bound sure somebody that's got because you can go to sites and torrent sites and all sorts of places where you can download the images. The 3D mesh.
Yeah.
You just put the wet USB stick in most of these, or hook it up to your computer. Some of them have got the software on the machine itself. Some of them have got an app, and some of them you connect to your PC. Most of them you don't have to connect to your PC anymore. But you could just put that in, set the auto leveler, and then tell it print and just bugger off. And then you come back 50 minutes later and it's done or whatever. Depends on the complexity. But something like that doesn't need anything other than black. So it'd be easy to print or white.
I've got a lot of these little, the LED, whatever they're called, Astro Wars type things.
Yeah.
Quite a few of them, they're missing the battery cover.
And you could print those off. There's low end of those.
Oh, is there really? Yeah, see, that would be, I think if I was to get one, I would probably use it as like a tool. Just, oh shit, I need that. I'll just print them.
So I wanted it for the little figure. I like I used to like going into things like Warhammer shops and buying little lead figurines and painting them. I used to like the idea. And when I was a kid, I used to buy those plaster of Paris molds, and you put plaster of Paris in and you then painted them and all of this sort of stuff. I just thought of the idea, you know what? There's thousands of designs out there of these. That when you print these things off, they print them mostly in resin, but they're all different materials. They're mostly one color, so they're perfect for you to just hand paint. You could probably get quite good at painting little figurines. And of course, if you've got a train set or a scale electric set, you can make whole things like this.
Yeah,
there are lots of there's lots of things you can do with them. I thought of just having a little hobby where I could paint, get good at painting, or you could make a whole Airfix kit. The old Airfix kit.
Yeah. You were talking about that last night.
All of those designs, they're all archived. Oh, that's good.
So
you could just then print them off.
Yeah, that's good to know. And I mean, because I thought to myself, well, how Astro Wars, who there's not going to be an Astro Wars mesh thing online, but if it's as popular as if there's as many things as there is, I would think about it. The only problem I've got is I quite literally have nowhere to put it. I don't know where
And
I would put it.
Steve's given an idea. He said just go browse Thingiverse. So just Google that.
Yeah, yeah, I'm not going to buy one right now, but no, it's interesting.
It would definitely be a thing that I'd really like. But there's two things here. One, I'm really short of money because of caring duties. But the other thing is where to put it.
Sorry, my phone started playing music for some bloody reason. I don't know why it happened. Sorry.
I'd have to move one of these arcade machines and put it.
I've got bad news for you, mate. I think Pac-Man's crashed. It's no moving.
Oh yeah.
No moving, mate. Is that you've nicked that for Arcade Club, haven't you? Or have you?
I don't know where I got that.
No, maybe
from.
not. I thought that was the Arcade Club logo just behind you.
No, actually, that says Delboy's Gaming Shorts, and I superimposed it on all of the screens, apart from Pac-Man. That actually does say Delboy's Gaming Shorts.
Anyway, modern incarnations of old systems. Unless you've been hiding under a rock for the last 6 months, you'll be aware of this Commodore 64 Ultimate.
Yep.
You've got the Spectrum Next. What are your thoughts on these brands? I'm not so much talking about your what do you call it, the mini Commodore 64 or the, because they're like sort of more basic. The actual high end price modern super duper versions. What are your thoughts on them?
If I had the money, I'd definitely buy the Commodore 64 Ultimate, because the Commodore 64 was my machine, and it's sort of like look, here's the Commodore 64. You can still use it like the old Commodore 64, but now we've added all those features that you've seen in emulators, in handhelds, and all that, all encompassed in one. And not only that, you can now have enhanced Commodore 64 with 2 SID chips and all of this sort of stuff. So you can go beyond what it did. And I think that's brilliant if you do something like that. But the thing about minis and that is they're not trying to be anything other than this is the Commodore 64. You can plug it into a HDMI and you can play around with it, and there it is. I think they're more for enthusiasts. I think they're more for the person, a bit like yourself, really, the one that says, I want to relive it, but I also want to be able to not worry about my old equipment dying on me.
Feeling. Yeah, that's the big thing for me, really. Yeah.
They haven't touched the Amstrad yet, so that would be another next one to do. I've always turned around and said, if they could only do a Commodore 128 and fix the problems. The 128 had all sorts of problems with it.
Did it really? I didn't know that.
People wanted 128, but they wanted enhanced Commodore 64, so they wanted 128 mega, 128K of RAM. So you couldn't do that because you had to be in 128 mode. They wanted, those enhancements that you had in 128, but they always just made it for the 64, and the reason for that is that they were 2 separate parts of the machine. So why not make it so that the 128 is now got those enhancements and also that 64 mode? It's that sort of thing that I go, yeah, wouldn't that be good? That you could have the Z processor, because it had a Z, it had a Z80 processor in it, and a 6502. You see.
Yeah. So I take it this. So I take it the Ultimate, the Ultimate thing that doesn't play 128 games then? No.
No, you'd be able to. No, I don't think it can. I don't know. It's FPGA, so you probably can.
It'd be nice to be able to put it into 128 mode. That would be really nice.
But it's amazing how the Spectrum 128 had a 128 version and a 48 version on the other with the Commodore. If you have a look, you've seen it yourself. You do a Sunday stream. I'm going to play Commodore 128 games. How many were there? 15.
Yeah.
What? Now you could always turn around and say, well, it came out at the wrong time because the Amiga was out. You know, they were now
Yeah.
concentrating on making an A500. You know, around about this time, people were shifting over. But I also look at it that it's the same problem that the Commodore 16 and the Commodore Plus 4 was. As much as the Plus 4 was there and it's similar to the 16, they wrote for the Commodore 16 because that was the biggest denominator. You know, it was the lowest denominator. You
Yeah.
can run a 16 on a Plus 4, but you can't put a Plus 4 on a 16. So they
Yeah.
played to that. To that.
Yeah.
Exactly the same with the 128. So, you know, I think it's a better option than that Commodore 65. I don't want a Commodore 65.
Uh,
I want a
yeah.
Commodore 64 Ultimate over a.
What has the? I mean, from what I can gather, the Commodore 65, whatever it's called, is like it's like 400 quid or something. It's really expensive.
About
Is
£800.
is it really? What has this? What has the ultimate? Has that not effectively just killed that stone dead? What does the ultimate? Sorry, what does the C65 have over the ultimate?
Oh, it's got more screen modes and colors and all that sort of stuff. It's like the Spectrum Next.
Right. Whereas the ultimate wants to be a
Commodore
C64 at heart.
64
Yeah, which I
with the
like.
disc
I
options.
like. I know, I know. It's like the new the new, what do you call it, Spectrum Next, the third Kickstarter. It's going to have the C64 and I think the Amstrad cores built in. So
Yeah.
it's starting to move away from, which has upset some people because it's starting to move away from what it is. Um,
You know, I mean, with a
you know,
Spectrum Next, you know, you don't hear of color clash, do you? With all the games they make for it.
yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to say. You with the Spectrum Next, you can play the old Spectrum stuff, but you can put it in Next mode and you can play the new games that they've written for it. And it's almost like playing, you know, a different machine. It would be like what the Spectrum would have done next. See what I mean? That's what they were saying. That's why it was called Spectrum Next, wasn't it?
Somebody in one of my channels, somebody in one of my streams, I was talking about the Spectrum Next games, and I said that I didn't have any, and it sounds bad, but you've got to buy them. There doesn't appear to
Yeah,
be
yeah.
any free ones. You've got to pay 20 quid. And somebody said that the Spectrum Next games look like shareware Amiga games, and that is exactly what they look like. I can't help thinking that the Spectrum Next have invented something that doesn't really need inventing. But I've got, well, I'm embarrassed to say I'm waiting on my third Next. The reason is, and I'm going to tell you now, it's not because I've got too much money, but I don't really spend anything. When I do, every now and again, I'll go boom, I'll buy something, put it in the credit card. But yeah, I originally bought the Spectrum Next, and I did an unboxing, and I think it's my second most popular video. I thought, oh, this is incredible. It's beautiful. It's the first brand new computer that I've owned. Not forget PCs. The first brand new computer I've owned since the Commodore Amiga, and I played it a couple of times, and then it sat on a shelf for about 2 years. Then it got put into a back in the box on top of the wardrobe. And I thought, why the fuck have I even got that? I'm never using it. So I sold it for a bit more money because at that point they were going daft. And then I think it was fucking the little bastard Steve was selling his N Go, which is like a cheapo Spectrum Next, and I thought, oh, I don't have a future-proof Spectrum. I'll buy Steve's N Go. So I
Yeah.
bought Steve's N Go, and it's cracking. It's 100% compatible. It's got a better keyboard and all this kind of stuff. And then I was thinking, oh, but it's not a Spectrum Next. No, I don't know. I just like the idea of getting one. So I had a look and I got one for quite a decent price. And then one of my mates goes, "Oh, I hear you're looking for a Spectrum Next." I goes, "I've got one." He goes, "Oh, right." I goes, "What is it? Is it Kickstarter one?" He goes, "No, it's the second one." And I had been doing a bit of Googling saying, what is the better one? And somebody said, if you want, for the purist, the collector, you want to have the Spectrum Next, the original, because that'll be probably become like the one that, oh, that's an original one. He says, but current, updates to firmware, etc., games, you're better off with the Spectrum, the second one, because it's got a few extra things. They fixed a fault with HDMI, blah, blah. So I said to him, how much? And it was a good price. I fucking bought it. I'm like, right, okay. And then of course when the third one came out, I thought, I'm not interested, not interested. Oh, you can pay up over 3 months. Why? So it means I'm going to have 3 Spectrum Next on top of my wardrobe, and I know it's fucking ridiculous. But the underlying thing that I don't mind buying things like that is I know I 100% I will get my money back. I'm not going to
Yeah.
lose. If I decide, fuck it, I'm just going to do it. But yeah, the Spectrum Next, the reason I bought that is so I've got a future-proof way of playing Spectrum games. I don't really. I think for the purists, the Spectrum kind of fanboys, the clever people that can program games like Steve and other people, I can get why they goes, oh, I'm going to dabble with this, I'm going to make that. To me, to my mind, outside of the original Spectrum, why not just fucking program it on a PC? Why don't you just program it on an Amiga? I don't really see the point of it. I do see the point of it, but to people like me, it's pointless. It's the extra screen modes and that. I'm never really likely to actually play a Spectrum Next game unless they were free, because I'm not
Well,
spending 15 quid on a sort
I,
of like a
I I
shareware
nearly
video
got
game.
I nearly got into the habit of trying to go back to coding. Remember, we all talked about this. So people of a certain age, like you and I, Alan, we programmed out of magazines. We'd type them in,
Yep.
and I nearly got into the. I'm going to retry this with that when with the Pico 8. You know that little.
Yeah. I
You know,
kind of forgot about that actually. That's a lovely thing.
but again, life took over, and I just went. I'm too late. But some of the things is I'm lazy as well. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. But I'm okay at graphics. I'm okay at sound, but it's that programming that I did a course on C++ programming and I passed, but I know how I got through on the skin of my teeth. I'm not that inclined, but I could probably have a stab at it. But just think how much time I'd need to do that. I've got to be retired, I think, to do that now. You know what I mean? So that's why I haven't done that. But when you were talking about the Spectrum Next, I think about the wow of seeing Warhawk on the Spectrum and going, wow, that's almost like an Amiga version of Warhawk, you know? But, the sound is almost great. There's no clash.
Yeah. What I would say, and you're right. I mean, Warhawk's lovely. I think there's a shareware game where you can get a demo. What I would say is that is not a Spectrum. That's just a new computer playing a game, and that's
Yeah.
where I think the Spectrum stops being a Spectrum the minute you start doubling the memory or whatever it is, using higher graphic modes and all that kind of
Well,
stuff.
that's what the 64
Yeah.
Ultimate can do, isn't it? Because you can speed the processor up and you can add more RAM. Because
Hmm.
you can play those new Sonic games, that need
Yeah.
120. So you can do that on it. So of course it's more than you could have done that on a Commodore 64 with an expansion cartridge on it, but people didn't have the money to do that. They were the disk drive alone cost you enough. So
Yeah. I
back in
mean,
the day, it was almost the cost of the computer itself.
it's I our mutual friend Panther, he bought
Yeah.
he bought the Ultimate 2 board, I think it was called. Now, this is manufactured by a guy who goes by the name of Gideon, and he's been making sort of hard Commodore 64 hardware for a long time, including the Ultimate 2 cartridge, which is a fantastic cartridge. It plugs into a standard Commodore 64. It has an SD card. You've got all the games. It loads disk images. It loads tape images. It also allows you to load a tape image as if it was a proper tape, shift and run, stop, press play, all that kind of stuff. It plays SID tunes. It's got all the built-in like cartridges, so you've got fast loader, all this kind of stuff. It's fantastic. So he brought that out, which I've got. I mean, I bought it. It's probably must be about 20-year-old now, actually, when I think about it. But then he brought out a brand new board, which is effectively Commodore 64, called I think it's called the Ultimate 2. Because Gideon is only one person, he physically makes them himself. So there is a big waiting list. So I put my name down for one probably 3 years ago, and it was maybe about 120 quid, and I thought I'll just wait. And eventually, about a year ago, maybe slightly more than that, I got an email to say that it's been dispatched, and yeah, it's a bare bones board, and I've got
Yeah.
a 64 bread bin. So I took out the board. I didn't throw it in the bucket, by the way. I'd have probably done that 20 years ago, just chucked the board in the bin. I've put it into a bag and put it under my bed. And I've taken, I took out the SID chip, which is the 61, was it 6181, 6181? The original SID chip, 618.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I also, honestly, the amount of shit that I actually own video games, I remember, I've, I, you know, sometimes when you buy a chip, it's like it's pressed into foam to like
Yeah.
protect it. I've got all these boxes under my bed with just so much stuff. I've got instructions for like computers that I don't even own, like, you know, the Oric. I've got instruction manuals for the Oric, or just all this kind of stuff. Which if I kick the bucket, Ava's just going to get a skip and go woof, and she's going to throw it
Yeah.
all into a skip, not realizing that there's thousands and thousands of pounds worth of stuff
Yeah.
there. But I thought, wait a minute, I've got a piece of sponge with some chips in it. I didn't, and I knew they were Commodore 64, so I dug them out, and again having a look. Oh, what's the new SID chip? The 8. I'm saying the new, 40 years old. What's it? The 8 something another, whatever it's called.
Yeah. The newer chip was an
Yeah.
8.
Anyway, we'll call it the 8 chip. Lo and behold, I thought there's an 8 chip. Boom. So I've now got the two. I've got the two SID chips in it, and it's fantastic, and it's great. And then probably about 6 months later, the whole YouTuber guy plus other people bought over the Commodore rights. They own the rights to it, blah blah blah, and they've brought Gideon on board, and he's now producing his board, but they're packing it with a proper keyboard and all that kind of stuff, which is great. And when it first kind of came out, I thought, oh, I don't need that. I've got one. I've got one. I've got one. And then as time wore on, I had a look at it, and it's like, I think I got an email saying, "Oh, you've got 16 days to get it at this reduced price." I can't remember how much it was. It was about 220 quid or something.
Oh right.
Which, when you think about it, when you think of how much a Commodore 64 cost in 1982, it was probably 600-700 quid.
Yeah.
So 200,
599. Yeah.
yeah, £220 now is is you know yourself. You know yourself. You go for a bloody meal with somebody, and it's like comes to 70 quid or whatever. I mean,
Oh
200.
yeah.
I'm not saying £220 is not a lot of money, but in the scale of tech, it's nothing.
Yeah.
So
Take a family with, you know, mum and dad, 2 kids to the pictures.
Yeah,
And all have a meal deal, you know, like popcorn, drink, or whatever it is, and you're 70 quid.
Oh yeah, and the rest probably, and the
The
rest.
rest.
I know. So I got this email saying, "Oh, you've got 16 days until you can get it at this price," and I couldn't help but see all these videos, all these grifting YouTubers getting all their tech for nothing, and saying how wonderful it is. But then there's a lot of people that have been buying them, and they're saying, you know, I think this is the best. If you're going to do a recreated computer, a modern incarnation of a computer, this is this is the landmark, not the landmark. This is the yardstick. This is what you've got to aim for. And then I thought to myself, the thing that I've got, the Ultimate 2, which I built myself, sod's law, something's going to go, the keyboard's going to stop working. Then I'll be like, oh, fucking hell, I can't fix this. I thought, you know what, fuck it. So I'm buying that. What I'll probably do is I'll probably just keep it as a spare, so to speak. I'll use the one that I've built, or maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should keep that one. I don't know. They're both, from what I gather, they're both exactly the same. But it does look really, really nice. And what I think is fantastic about the Commodore 64, it stays true to it's a Commodore 64. I mean, the box, I don't know if you've seen the box that it comes in, it's beautiful. It's absolutely Evening Ox, it's absolutely fucking stunning looking. But what I love about the the ultimate thing that I've got, I mean, you can do it with emulators, is some games that just play that wee bit slow. Just stick it up a wee bit, stick up by 20%, and it just makes some games
Yeah.
beautiful. It really makes some games a lot more playable. It's lovely.
The only mini that I'd be interested in buying really is the X68,000 one that you can't even get in this country. So.
Is that a thing? Did it actually come out? Yeah.
Oh, it went out over in Japan, and you could
Mm.
import it in, but it'd be it's too expensive.
Yeah.
That's the only one I'd be interested in because I always wanted one. The actual huge, the proper one. But
Oh yeah. They've got one.
the mini would do just as well. I'll have that, but
Yeah.
not over here. But
Yeah.
I'm a bit like you. There are certain things that I'll buy as a spare. I haven't told anybody this really, even in my blog. I've got the multi-system too. The Mister that came out for your friends down at the Retro Cave. I haven't took it out of the box yet. I've had that since the week it came out. Just it's a spare. I don't want my Mister to break.
Yeah. And I was, and it sounds crazy, but I've got my Mister, which is a little boxed thing, which I use. That's the one that I use for doing my streaming. I've then got the other Mister, which I've now got one of my mates 3D printed the keyboard. It's now a standalone computer, and it's fucking gorgeous. But I think to myself, if the one I use for streaming was to stop working, I wouldn't have. It would be too much a faff trying to get the other one. I'm thinking maybe I should buy one of these ones, which I think Russ. I don't know if Russ is still in. One of my mates, George, who's actually watching this, he bought one of them from AliExpress, and I think it was 180 quid, and it's a Mister, absolutely perfect, brilliant. And so I said to because Russ was asking about it, he says, "Oh, I'm looking to buy one," and I said, "Why don't you buy one of these?" And he's got it and he loves it as well. So you can get a one from AliExpress, and Russ got his in. It was something like less than a week. He ordered it and he had it within less than a week. So I don't know if it came from China or whatever, but 180 quid for a Mister now is an absolute no-brainer. I've not bought another one, but yeah.
I think there's a lot of weird choices going out there at the moment. I never understood why they brought the Atari 400 mini out. Why didn't they do it in the style of the 800? I mean, I don't get that. And it wouldn't work to have an Oric mini, or you know what I mean. I'm so glad they haven't done something like that. But I do sometimes wonder: is this Amiga full size Amiga? The Amiga 1200, I think they call it, don't they? Is that going to work? I've still got mine on order, but I can cancel at any time.
Yeah, I've got mine in order as well. Yeah.
You know what I mean? You've got an A500 mini that does an A1200 on it, so you're only getting it because you want the keyboard. You want,
it was a bit like it was a bit like they brought out the 64. I can't stand when people call it the Maxi. I just want to go fuck the fucking. I don't know what it is. There's certain words that just annoy the hell out of me in the Maxi. I don't know what it is. I hate people go, the Maxi.
It's only because there was a mini. That's all it is.
I know. I don't know what it is.
Opposite word of mini, Maxi.
Yeah, it's like people. Fortunately, it seems to have died a death, and people use the word Wally. Oh, he's a Wally. It's just like a really crap fucking. Call him a cunt. Don't call him a Wally. He's a cunt. Yeah, Maxi. I hate that, the Maxi. But anyway, this 64, the full size 64, it's got a VIC-20 mode. And then they brought out the VIC-20, and I was going to go, oh, I thought, no, I don't need it. Other than the different colour of the case, it already does the VIC-20.
Yeah.
As you say, other than the thing, but I am a bit of a sucker for the minis. I mean, what have I got? I bought the SNES, which I think was the very first. The NES was the very first one that came out.
Yeah,
I never bought one of these. Then the SNES came out, and I bought that. Then I got the Mega Drive. Then I bought the PC Engine one. And then
the TurboGrafx 16.
Yeah,
there was two of those, weren't there? There was two.
Yeah, I bought that. Then I managed to get a NES one for pretty cheap, and I think, and then I also saw. I went on eBay and I saw the Atari 400 one. And I bought that. I got that. I think it was about 40 quid. And I also bought the black mini one, which just fucking have it. Yeah, I'm a bit obsessed with buying these, and I think probably about 5 out of the 7 that I've got have never even been fucking opened.
Yeah, but
But you,
I don't think there's anything wrong in going. Well, I want those as little minis because I could have them later on the shelves going all the way around. There's our mutual friend Kevin, down the rabbit hole, who likes collecting those little mini 1/6, 1/12 or whatever size little arcade games with
yeah,
little
yeah,
joysticks playing Pac-Man and all that. And I just go, why? That little joystick, I couldn't play with that little joystick on that little thing, but it makes sense turning them all on around, and you've got little arcade games, and they've got the actual game playing on there, and it makes sense
aye,
to certain people. And I don't think the bubble's going to burst like it did in the 80s with too much product, but I do think that they have to keep their optimism up on there, because I don't think they're going to sell in the millions. They're going to be, make 200,000 of them and hope for the best, because I don't think they're that type of mouse, that mass market like we had in the 80s. Do you know what I mean?
yeah. I think they're definitely. I mean, it's they're playing to the collector thing that
Yeah.
loves it. It's mainly guys that have got this obsession with collecting. I know you have, obviously, with films and all that kind of stuff. And sorry, David Tome has made a comment. Sounds like you're chasing something that you just can't buy. So I'm not quite with you, David. If you can
I'm not
expand on that.
sure.
I'm not quite sure what you're saying. Maybe he's referring to me buying all these minis. No, it's just because it's like, it's not a lot of money, and it's nice to have them. But aye, yeah, some of these, yeah, I know what you're talking about, the little mini arcade things again.
But they take up so much little architecture, and I remember you telling the story that you carried a telly and a computer down to a computer
I
club with
did,
you. It
yes.
weighed an absolute. You could carry all of these computers now in a briefcase and just get them all out and go, there you are, look, which one do you want to go
Yeah,
on? Look today, I mean,
yeah,
you
yeah.
couldn't do that in the 80s. So, you know.
There's, and I've said this before. I have been selling off stuff. I have been selling off original hardware. What have I sold? Oh, I can't even bloody remember.
You, you sold your QL, didn't you?
I sold my QL. I mean, I got 97 quid for it. And you go into eBay and it's like £300. But the reality is you're not going to get. I just thought, you know what, put it on an auction. It'll if it's worth £500, I'll get £500. So I'll get what people are willing to pay. And in the case of that, it was like 97 quid. I sold my BBC. Again, I just want to get rid of. I want to try and. There's something really, really satisfying about clearing space, getting rid of things, and all these things there, I can play. And and I'm replacing it with stuff that that's kind of modern. But yeah, if somebody was to come to my front door and say, "Listen, mate, I want to buy everything," I'd say, "Well, listen, I'm going to keep my Vectrexes, I'm going to keep my C64, I'm going to keep." I mean, I've even sold my Amiga because I'm like, I don't need it. I can play Amiga games. I'm going to keep my Atari. That's maybe it. Give me 5 grand, take the lot, boom, and I'd keep my Mister, and I'd be quite. I mean, the Mister is such a awesome bit of kit.
Yeah.
It really, really is. It's. I just wish I'd bought one earlier, but then it's for
Well,
anybody that's
we all ummed and ahed over it, didn't we? We all go,
yeah,
nah,
you and I
not.
did for a long time. We're like, oh, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. I know. And I think, I mean, there's the Ox. He's not long had one. And I know he loves it as well. And it's a fantastic thing. If anybody is into want to play,
Yeah, now they're talking about a Mister Two, aren't they? So.
I saw somebody.
And didn't I tell you that was likely to happen? Colin said, "Nah, it never happened." I said, "Bet you any money it will." And there you are. I said, "I'll buy one, and then they'll come out with a revised version that's more
What is
powerful and all of that."
Yeah, for me, I don't really see the appeal of it. It's not to say, if it comes up for sale, of course I'm going to buy one. But it's not to say that I need one, because I'm not interested. My interest in sort of games probably ended, I would say, with the 16-bit. You know, I did have a PlayStation. I do like my Sega Mega Drive, whatever. Not my Mega Drive, but the Dreamcast and the Sega Saturn. But I'm not really interested in playing games that had CDs. So the current Mister that I've got does what I want it to do.
Yeah.
You know,
But there's always the other end that says, "Oh yeah, but I want it to play in, Dreamcast and PS2 better than it can." They are finding that there's ways round it. It's just that it's to do with bus speed and things like that I don't want to bore everybody with. But
yeah,
that's why they're bringing out they're bringing out one that's about 30% faster than the one that's out here, and it should cost about the same as what the original Mister did. And I can imagine people going, "That's worth the upgrade for me. I'll sell my old Mister. I'll have this one. It'll do all what my old one did." And now it's 30% faster, and it means that I can now play that PS. I can play that Dreamcast on it that they've always tried to do but couldn't. You see what I mean?
See, can I ask a question, because you're more technical than I am? The systems that the Mister emulates, do they run at full speed, or is it possible that a system could come out but run a bit slow or whatever?
It's a difficult one to answer because of all the custom chips. Remember that when you load a core in, that core is the whole architecture of that machine.
Yeah.
So it probably is running at 100%. In fact, you can say that for definite with arcade, and you can say that for all of the 8 bits. But when it starts getting into 3DO, say, going into that, it's struggling. And I think it's the reason for that is that it's trying to do CD emulation plus this emulation plus that emulation.
Yeah.
When they're trying to get it run, they can run it, but it's slower. And then they're trying to go, right, how do we get this to that level? And that's the architecture of the actual FPGA speed itself. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. And I think the whole appeal of the Mister is you're getting something which is 99.9999% accurate. And then, so if you're starting to run systems that are running slow, then it's like, well, you're missing the point of the Mister. The Mister
there's a system tester for the NES, and apparently, if you run this system test on it, you'll find that even an original NES will fail on something, and it won't be 100% accurate. Apparently, the closest, most accurate is the Mister. It actually came up in their scale saying it gets to 99%, and even the original NES fails at something, whether it, because there's all these revisions, revision 3. So how do you make it? And of the Mister has the beauty of being all those revisions in one. Yay! And you couldn't do that with, depending on what era or year you bought the NES. There's different revisions, version 1, 2, 3, and they changed the chips and so forth. So that's the beauty of the Mister.
Yeah, oh, it's fantastic. Just want to say hello to Scott. I've not seen you for a while, Scott. Thanks for dropping in. Always nice to see you. Ox has got a question. Where is it? Hang on.
Do any of you use the zero lag setting successfully?
Yeah, wait a minute. There's a question. There we go. This one here. Show. What is the most obscure system yous have ever owned? Mine would be the Nokia N-Gage. I would say for me, I'll let you think about it. I would say there's two, but there's one that's more obscure. The first one or second one would be the the Neo Geo Pocket. I did own one of them. It's not massively obscure. Beautiful system, but the biggest problem with it is it didn't have a backlight. And it was even harder to see than the Game Boy, so I sold it. But no, I think the easy answer for me would be the original Pandora, which if you type in Pandora into eBay,
we both had one of those.
Yeah, yep. So you know what it is. If you type in Pandora and eBay, you get all these jewellery things, whatever it is. Apparently, Pandora's a necklace or something. But the Pandora there was a company or a group of enthusiasts, I think we call them, brought out a thing called the Game Park, and it was the first. It was a little handheld with a really big screen for the time. Oh,
Game
there,
Park.
oh, there you go. Oh, wow, I didn't realise you still had that. There you go. There's the Game Park there. Is that the original, the black and white one?
Yeah, and look at that with the waif of cards that you had
Oh,
to
wow,
play.
bloody hell! It's got the little sticks are quite plasticky, aren't they? I think they're quite fragile.
Yeah. GP
Yeah,
32 is what you're thinking of, the Game Park 32.
yeah. I had one of them, but I remember it would be 2005, and I remember being down at one of the Retrovisions, and there was a guy called Motley, as in Motley from the cartoon. Motley, he pulled out his pocket this thing, and I'm like, what the hell's that? And it was a Game Park 32, and I'd never seen, the only handheld I'd seen was like a Game Boy or a Lynx. I didn't know what this thing was, and I got it for Japan, and like, what the fuck is it? And next minute he put on fucking Attack of the Mutant Camels. I'm like, what the fuck? How are you running a Commodore 64 on a fucking handheld? Couldn't
Yeah.
believe it. And that was it. I bought one. And yeah, again, it wasn't backlit. I know they brought out a backlit version, whatever, and I think you could mod it. But it was, I mean, that was my first like foray into like emulation on a sort of portable scale. I mean, you could download. I wouldn't even know where to begin now. You could get Spectrum emulators. I think you could get Amstrad. Did it do MAME at all? I can't remember. Did it
Did
do
it?
MAME?
Sorry.
Did it? Could the Game Park do like MAME or that? I can't remember. Maybe not.
Yeah, but incredibly slowly.
Like maybe Pac-Man, whatever. But
It was
then
very early MAME, you know.
what I believe. So then anyway, yeah, they brought out the Game Park, and then was the Game Park 32? Was that a sequel or was that the same?
Yeah,
Was
no,
that one and the
there
same?
was a newer version of it, which then turned into the Pandora.
Blue, was it not BLU? The Game Park Blue or something they called it?
Something like that. It was a slightly enhanced, more memory, custom sort of like addition to the. It was black. I know that my one was this was GP2X. There you are. That's what it was called.
Oh Christ! Aye, yeah.
But then
Yeah,
it turned into the Pandora because the same company that was making them over here was speaking to the same person that was building the Pandora, and he then distributed those in this country, and that's where I got mine from because I bought the GP32. I went to him and said, "Are you doing the Pandora?" And he said, "Yes." But there's problems with the controllers and things like that. We're waiting for the fixes for it. I remember when it was first coming out because it's a lovely device. It had 2 SD slots and everything.
yeah.
Gorgeous thing. A pen stick. It ran Linux. It, booted into workstation.
Portable computer. I mean, I've still got mine.
I had to sell mine to get a car.
I've come very, very close in the past to sell it. But
no, and I told you never do that because it's one of my regrets.
Yeah. I mean, it's so it's so rare that I'll guarantee if you went on eBay right now that you won't see one for sale. They're just, and the thing is, I think I did a video. I might need to do a video again. Actually, a new video. Even now, I mean, I've not used it for a good few years. Even now, the emulation capability of it was phenomenal. You could play stuff like Final Fight, all the sort of like original, was it version 0.35 of MAME or something? You could play all them perfectly. I think it did the Amiga, it did the Atari ST. I don't think it did like I don't think it did like 3DO or any of these systems like the. Well, it did do the PlayStation. Yeah, it does.
It did the PlayStation, yeah.
And we're talking about a device that came out probably 2010, maybe a long time ago.
Yeah, we talked about that, and we said, "What year was it?" And I told you I thought it was 2012, but I think you were right; it was earlier.
It was way ahead of its time, absolutely way ahead. And it was a system that all the kind of geeks wanted to get because it was a kind of complete open source console, and there's all these enthusiasts writing games and emulators and all that kind of stuff, and it's a phenomenal system, and it's got a backlight. Yeah, it does. It's got a backlight as well.
It's got video out.
Aye, that's right. I'll need to do. I'm going to when I get back from Spain. I'm going to do a video. I'm going to do whatever. I'll need to
I
come up
was
with
so
some
glad
fucking
that I
odds and
got
ends.
one that I ordered an extra battery just in case.
I've got an extra battery. You know that mine's came an extra battery, and I've never actually put it in.
And the stylus
Yeah,
fitted into the case and all that sort of stuff.
I know. I mean, it was way, way, way ahead of its time. The thing is, you could go into AliExpress and buy something like that for probably 40 quid now, but it's not the point. This was like the original handheld for emulation, and nobody had seen anything like that before. It was phenomenal. I mean, it's like I said, I've still got mine, lucky enough. I think I've come close, and I know one of my mates, Mark Lactobacillus, I can't even say his name, Lactobacillus, Lactobacillus Prime. He had said to me, "Don't sell it," and then I know I'd said to you, don't fucking sell that." And I thought, right, okay, and I've still got it, and the thing is, if like I said, if I get hit with a bus, Ava's going to look at it and go, "What's this? Is this like a prototype of a Game Boy?" And she'll try and switch it on, and it'll have no batteries, and go,
I mean, I've still got
"Win."
the old DS in that shape.
Yeah, I've got that as well. I know. But phenomenal. Why are we talking about handhelds? What were we talking about? Yeah, sorry,
No,
the most
it was machines that are obscure that you've
obscure.
got.
So that's my one. I'll let
Well,
over
no,
to
but
yourself,
mine's the
Steve.
same because I showed you a GP32. I had a Pandora. If I go back really early, I was lucky that I was having machines that were popular out there at the moment, but people would say, "You really had one of those?" Because I had an Oric one, because I fixed them and sold them on because they were broken machines that people were trading in to get another machine from. So of course I had stuff that people wouldn't have even dreamt of, but I didn't have them for very long.
Yeah,
You see what I mean? So I think when you talk about obscure, we're talking about those what you just talked about because they were
aye,
niche. And I swear to anybody, if you go on eBay and type in Pandora, you'll get jewelry up. You'll
yeah,
have
yeah,
trouble finding the actual device itself because it'll be buried under jewelry. You know what I
yeah,
mean? I had a VIC 20, had a Commodore 64, had a ZX80, had a ZX81. I had, but not for very long. My machines were Commodore VIC 2064, Amiga. I had an A1000. I mean,
yeah, yeah.
but it's just that you can get an A1000. It's not exactly like hard to get. Do you see what I mean? You have to pay some money for it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I didn't have a 3DO. I didn't have those. I had an MSX. Is that obscure? Really, not really. You can get
No,
them.
no,
When we're talking obscure, people would probably say Magnavox. Now that's obscure. You try finding a Magnavox.
one of
That
the
might be a bit.
yeah, one of the obscure systems. One of the obscure systems that I do own now, and I got it. When I got it free, what was I buying?
You had a Sword M5, didn't you?
Yeah, I had that. Yeah, and again, I don't know what it was. I always wanted it when the home computer magazine, it had all these computers, and I always thought, oh, I'd love one of these. I don't know why. I just thought I wanted one. Oh, excuse me. And I eventually bought one, and you know, I had my fun with it for like 5 minutes, and I sold it. I thought, what's the purpose of keeping it? Um, what have you got? Have you got? What is your biggest ever selling regret? What have you sold? And you thought,
Oh, my
I've got
Pandora.
the
My Pandora.
over anything else, even any
Well,
films or anything at all.
I regret selling my A1000 because when you consider just how much of a baby that thing was for me, it was like a day one release that I had it
Yeah,
at.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah? But I had an A2000 that replaced it. So,
In
you know what I mean?
hindsight, yeah, you'd the 2026 Dell would go back and speak to the 1990 Dell and say, like, for fuck's sake, don't sell that. I know you don't play with it, put it in the cupboard. In 30 years' time, you can thank me.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I mean, the A1000, I mean, I knew that when I took the case off of that, it had all the signatures underneath it. I couldn't
Yeah.
believe that people were saying that's a thing. I didn't even know it. I went, I knew that. And the reason I knew that was I had to put memory expansion in it when I first got it.
I got to
Yeah.
see an Amiga 1000 at I think I told you, I think I mentioned it in the channel. Craig Flanagan and myself went along. There was an Amiga user group in Glasgow about 2 years ago, and Craig says, "Oh, do you fancy going to that?" I went, "Ah, fuck it, why not? I'm not doing anything anyway." So Craig and I went along into this church hall, and there was about 3 or 4 people in the hall, and there was a number of Amigas around. And yeah, one of them was the Amiga E5000,
Well,
sorry, the Amiga 1000.
you saw one at the Zap event.
Yeah, did I? I can't remember.
There was a they were playing Project X. We sat down. Your friend was behind, showing a new shoot 'em up that was going to come out for the Amiga.
Oh, Graham Cowie. Yeah, it was on. It was facing him, wasn't it? It was.
And I said, "There's my A1000."
Oh,
And I said,
I do
"Look, the
remember.
keyboard slides underneath. Look." And
I do remember seeing that. Yeah, I do. But anyway, yeah, I was talking to one of the guys. He said, "Is this yours?" He went, "Aye," and he goes, "Oh, look at this," and he took off the board, and sure enough, it's got all the signatures. I mean, that's such a cool.
I had a sidecar for that, so I could play
cool
IBM AT things on it. You know,
yeah,
PC bolt on.
Yeah.
But I remember telling you, I said until Defender of the Crown came out, there was literally next to nothing for it. It was 2 years of drought until the A500 came out. Really, there was Marble Madness, and there was a couple of
Mindscape, obviously, which I still never played.
Yeah, Mind Walker was the game that I
Mind Walker. Played. Yeah, I always remember seeing. I don't know, it was like Computer Weekly or something. It was some obscure, it wasn't obscure, it was an old computer magazine, and there was a little segment, Jeff Minter has just bought an Amiga 1000, and he was going about how arcade perfect Marble Madness was. And I think he might have mentioned that Mind Walker or whatever it was as well, and I thought,
oh, yeah, we talked at length about Mind Walker, and he went, I thought when we were talking about it, he said, the developer of that, and I've forgotten his name's Bill something or other. Oh, he wrote other games that I went, I didn't know he wrote that. He just turned around and said, didn't it blow your mind when you got that how good that game was? And I said, yes, because I didn't think graphically it was much, but the sound, I can hear it, the sound now, the tune is in my head, and yet it's just blippy bloppy noises. It's nothing. But it's just it blew your mind how big this thing was. It was huge.
This was Mind Walker, it's called.
Yeah.
I'll need to have a look at that. Because I want, I just remember.
I've been threatening to do an expose on that because nobody talks about it, and it was the first game I played, and I loved it to death, and it just blew my mind. And it's like anything, I just haven't got round to it.
So was it one of these games that was almost like the first, holy shit, look at this game that came out for the Amiga, pretty much?
Well, it's just for me.
Yeah,
it came with the Amiga with the Kickstart discs.
So it was
when you bought an Amiga, you had a cardboard cutout with 4 discs in it, and no word of a lie. There was Kickstart, Workbench, and Mind Walker was one of those games that I got.
Right. Sorry, mate. I'm going to punch your thunder. I'm going to do a video. I'm going to play it for the first time in 2026 and see.
Oh, you'll hate it.
I want to see it. I want to see. I've never.
Yeah, but you'll hate it. You're a little wizard going over some abstract leveled things. You have got to. The idea of the game is to fix the brain, right? And you've got to go around collecting this thing that's broken in the brain and bring it back. And then there's another little, it's like a lot of mini games put together, really. That's what it is. It's like anything. To me, it was just brilliant. To other people that look at it, you go, what's that pile of shit?
Yeah. I suppose it's like the first game that I saw on the Atari ST was Arkanoid, and I just thought this was absolutely
I
freaking
will
mind
I will
blowing.
protect that game to death. I will just turn around and say I don't care what anybody says. This to me takes me back to me switching on the machine for the first time. That's what that game does.
Yeah, yeah. It's so
Simple as that.
it's all about the memories.
There's no good doing a retrospective of something. This is what I always say. There's no good doing a retrospective of something if you don't have that idea of what you think of it and what the world thinks of it. Right? So you've got to turn around and go, look, to be quite honest, it's infantile. It's like an infant's game now when you consider everything that's out there. But from my point of view, it's takes me back to, if I open up an old book, say from 1972, it's the smell of the paper. It's like, oh, this takes me back to me being a kid. And people won't understand it because anybody else would look at it and say, what, a black and white comic? What are you interested in that piece of shit for?
Yeah, yeah.
You can get now glossy and all of this sort of stuff and all colors and all this. And I'm going, don't care. You can have your opinion. I can have my opinion.
I mean, if you kind of if you think about nostalgia, and nostalgia is a massive, massive part, and there's been a lot of games over the years that I've stumbled upon, that I remember playing back in the day, and I load it up and I'm thinking, it's a bit shit actually, and take a game like Beam Rider. Beam Rider has got probably some of the worst graphics. It must have taken the guy. It probably took the guy 10 minutes to do the graphics. It's in my mind, it's a phenomenal game. Is that because I've got the nostalgia for it, or is it genuinely a good game? And do you think the reason that like Ava's generation would look at it and they wouldn't even give it the time of days because it just looks absolutely shit? Is it a good game, or is it my nostalgia that I'm playing on?
Very, very early days of your channel, I remember you got your girlfriend and your daughter to play Manic Miner. Said, look, I want to do an experiment,
I
right?
remember that. I forgot about that.
Let's see what they think of Manic Miner, right?
Yeah.
Like this sort of thing, And I went, it's an interesting experiment. I like experiments like that. One of my pet hates. Here's something that I was going to bring up because you asked me to think of some subjects. I've got a funny feeling that I'm getting really old, right? That's not the funny feeling, right? But I am sick of YouTube and content creators out there that in January will look at what is coming out and then start talking about it. And I don't know quite how to explain it really. It's like, right, I know that we're in 2026, so I'm going to say that the 40th anniversary of this is coming this year, so I'm going to do a retrospective of this, right? And they're already planning in the year, oh, it's 40 years to the day that VHS came out or DVD came out. They're already planning how they're going to do these things, right? It's just so predictable that that's going to happen this year. Do you know what I mean? I know that people are already thinking about there's the new Jumanji film as a sequel coming out. There's a perfect example, and already they're knocking it. Right, ain't even out yet. Probably won't even be out till Christmas.
That annoys me. Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And I know that they're already planning now to do a series of videos saying we've just seen a new trailer for this, and oh, doesn't it look shit? This is going to be bad when it comes out. This is not going to work. All this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And I was telling you just before we came on, it's amazing, but Codemasters set themselves up 40 years ago this year, right? So 1986. Codemasters started, and we're in 2026, and there's going to be no end of people that Alan, and this is going to happen. They're going to do a load of Codemasters games. They're going to find out when they set themselves up, and they'll run through their whole catalog in a video this year on Codemasters, because somebody will come up and say, oh, did you know that Codemasters is 40 years old?
Yeah.
You know, they did it with films like last year. It was Back to the Future's 40th anniversary. Oh, how many videos did I see on Back to the Future's anniversary? Jesus Christ, man! If I see another Back to the Future video in that month, it was, and I hate it. It's a pet peeve of mine.
I'm the same, and there's one film that I always remember. It was one of the modern Ghostbuster films. It was the one where it was all like the women that were playing the parts. And I remember
Ghostbusters,
yeah, I remember going to the computer club and saying, "Oh, has anybody seen the latest Ghostbusters?" He goes, "Oh, that's absolutely shite." I goes, "Oh, really?" I said, "I actually really enjoyed it." He goes, "Oh, I've not seen it. I've just seen the trailer." I said, "So you've not actually seen the film, and you're telling me it's shite?" Yeah. I'm not interested in seeing it. I said, "How can you judge something without actually seeing it?" I says, "You're entitled to your opinion that the trailer looks shite." I says, "I am telling you, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good film." I'm not interested. It's shite. I'm like, so he'd already made his mind up that this was shite.
Yeah.
Without
people,
even
I mean, like I said, there will be content creators that you've met at talkie events and all that sort of stuff that are right now in January going, what came out 40 years ago? So let's see. So that's 1986. What came out 1976? What came out 1966? And they're planning already doing retrospectives of these.
Yeah.
And I just think this is all no brainer stuff. You've never done that. You've done a retrospective of a Codemasters game, but you've never turned around and gone, "Oh, right, this year," you know, apart from the certain nostalgic machines, like you did the Commodore 64 is 40 years old, the Spectrum is 40 years old, because you had those machines. You've never gone out your way to say, "Oh, the Oric 1's 40 years old, so let's do an Oric 1 thing," right? You know, you never had one, right? I'm just sick of all of those ones that do that, and because you know so many of them, you know every single one of those channels is going to do it.
Yeah,
and they're planning in January right now, the whole year out, and they're going, "Oh, in March I've got to do that because it's the 40th anniversary."
Yeah, they're not doing it because they've got any love for the hobby. It's just because
of their channel and it's retro and all of that sort of
and stuff. They're going to get views. Yeah. Nah, I'm totally with you on that.
Maybe I'm just being cranky, I suppose, but that's just one of my pet hates.
Well, Lee did say to me, she says, "You know what, you've turned, not you," she said, "that I've turned into a right miserable fucking bastard." And I have. I made a complaint about.
She knows you well, then.
Okay. I complain about everything. You know, one thing that really boiled my blood a couple of weeks ago, and again, you can say, well, it's up to them. Yeah, there was a cartridge that came out for the Vectrex, which allows you to run homebrew and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Called the Vec Fever. Somebody then brought out a thing called the Pytrex, which I've got, which is a lot cheaper. But what I didn't realise about the Pytrex is it's got a Raspberry Pi in it. It actually when you plug the Pytrex into a Vectrex, the Vectrex it's not using the Vectrex to produce the games. It's the Raspberry Pi is emulating the Vectrex, but it outputs it onto the monitor. I didn't fucking know that. So it's just using the monitor for the Vectrex. Anyway, lovely cartridge. The Vec Fever it uses the actual Vectrex, but I think it helps it kind of, I don't know what it does. It can allow you to run things like Star Wars Arcade and all that. It was one person that was making these cartridges, and you cannot get them at all. There was somebody selling one a couple of weeks ago, and I think he was wanting £2,800 for it. And I'm just like, that is absolutely fucking madness.
Yeah.
Would somebody pay £2,800? And I get why somebody would pay 20 million for the Mona Lisa, because it's like a one-off and it's going to be worth it. For a fucking cartridge, seriously, that just annoys me. And that's I think I've kind of fallen out of love with the whole scene. Just not the whole scene. It's become saturated.
You came up with the perfect example, though, didn't you? When they were grading games at
It's
9.2 and saying that Mario in mint in box was selling for 1.2 million pounds and all this sort of stuff. And you just
after
go,
that,
oh!
yeah. After that, I mean, it went all over the news. Yeah, it sold for like, I think it was like two and a. Aye, it was over £1 million anyway. I went out and bought, because it was brand new. I went out and bought the Switch Mario Odyssey, and
Yeah, and stuck it in a cupboard.
yeah, and I've still got them. They're still sealed. Unfortunately, you can still buying them on Amazon for 40 quid. I'm just waiting for somebody to say, "Oh, these are the most desirable games." But the thing is, a Switch game that's shrink wrapped isn't really that appealing because it's just an empty case. Whereas if you had like I don't know, if you had like a copy of the original Doom for PC, big box, shrink wrapped, that would probably be worth a few quid. You know what I mean? Because it's such an iconic game. But yeah, I'm still waiting for these to become worth stupid amounts of money so I can sell them and then give up my job. But yeah, listen, I'm conscious of time. I do want to kind of wrap it up shortly. I've just got two more things I want to ask or speak about. I know that you've recently been buying a new computer. You've been buying it in bits and bits and bits. And what I was staggered to hear about is apparently you're saying that the price of memory has just rocketed.
×4. Yeah.
What the fuck's going on there?
All the data centers that make AI are buying RAM. So data centers are just huge buildings where they've got servers and they need huge amounts of RAM, not storage space, RAM. They need fast RAM, and that's the sort of RAM that you get on a graphic card. You know, so it's not like, so there are only three memory manufacturers. Samsung is one, Crucial's another, and so Crucial have pulled out the market totally and said our business model now isn't people that we've built, we've sold memory for PCs for anymore. You know, DDR5 that you slot into a PC.
Mm-hmm.
Our model now is these data centers because they're buying up all of our stock, because you make RAM in exactly the same way, whether it be for a data center or for a PC. So basically, you've got 1/3 of that that made RAM for PCs totally turn around and go, we're not making it for you anymore, Joe Blogs. We're ditching you, and we're going to sell it now to data centers only for AI.
So that's it. It's because of I remember, like, am I right in thinking that graphics cards quadrupled because people were using them to like mine Bitcoin or something?
Yeah, that was Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So here we go. If there are only three sort of like companies that make RAM, then everything's going to go up. So your phone's going to go up, right? Because they've got RAM. Your graphic cards are going to go up. Your SSD drives are going to go up. The RAM for your PC is going to go up, and everything that you buy that needs RAM is going to go up. But what happened was, because Crucial pulled out the market, the whole memory went from being 120 quid to 460 quid in a month.
Fucking hell,
in
that's
1 month.
insane.
And it's leveled out now, but that even now Samsung are saying we don't know where we'll be in a year's time, because they're still supplying this RAM now just for data centers, and RAM is therefore being harder and harder for you to buy, and all old stock has been bought. So the RAM for this particular machine in here was the most expensive part of my new build.
That's insane.
More than the processor, in fact, I bought the processor and the motherboard, and those two items together were not was not more than the RAM that I had to
buy. I mean, I got a brand new computer. When did I get that? About maybe a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and I've got 32 gig of RAM. So I probably got in just before the bell, I think.
That's right. I mean, if you bought it in July, it was no problem. You bought it in September onwards, forget it. And what you have to understand is Nvidia that make graphic. You know that you've heard of the Nvidia brand,
Yeah.
right? All they actually do is give the design of the board to ASUS and MSI and all of those people. Yeah, they're now going to supply those boards, but not put any RAM on it, and leave it for ASUS to buy the RAM to put it and manufacture the card. They said we're not making RAM for it anymore. We'll just give you the reference for it so that you can go out and make it. So all the new NVIDIA 5 series graphic cards and the 6 series that will come out this year are now going to come with no RAM.
Jesus.
And that means that, when you buy a graphic card this at later part of this year, it's going to be the same sort of problem that you're going to have with RAM. And just think how much RAM you've got. RAM in Fire Sticks. You've got RAM in TV.
What about? Yeah, well, I was talking to somebody about how TVs are like the cheapest. TVs are so ridiculously cheap now. But are we going to see an increase in TVs now, do you think? Because so everything's going to go up, and it's all because of AI.
Because then they now consider that RAM is being made specifically for AI.
Yeah,
that annoys me because AI is just it's got such a bad name that it's now got an even worse name for itself. I mean,
when it starts affecting other things in your life, I know. I mean, I've made no secret of my. I suppose I've seen hatred the AI. I think it's got a lot of good. It's got a lot of good purposes. I mean, I've been messing about with I put a picture of me into is it Grok, and I asked it to give me a mullet, and it's fantastic. I put it on Facebook, and I've got this big mullet, and that I love the fact that you can fuck about with pictures and that kind of stuff. But I am that close from removing Facebook off my phone because the only reason I don't remove it is because I'm a member of a couple of groups and we use that for like, oh, this is going to be on at that time and it's communication. But Facebook used to be about, oh, I'll see what Craig's been up to. Oh, I'll see what Robert's been up to. Oh, I see Craig was at the cinema and he went to see that. Now you go, and if I go into Facebook right now, it's like, oh, there's a post to somebody I know. There's classic TV things. There's some person I don't know, some influencer, and it's just full of shit. And there's all these photographs. Oh, there's a picture of Harrison Ford with Michael Douglas. It's like AI. I've now reached the stage. I don't believe any picture that I see. I don't believe any of it. And that's terrible. It's terrible. I was out with Eva. Earlier on, and I said, if you and I were walking through the park, and a fucking UFO came down, and I took a photograph of it, other than you and I and maybe your mum, whatever it is, nobody would believe you. Absolutely nobody. Look, there's a picture of me with an alien. AI. No, it's not.
And people also know how to get rid of watermarks. So when you turn around and say, "Look, I've watermarked this," to show.
I mean, I've taken pictures of. I don't know why I'm showing you the phone. I've taken pictures of Ava, in Edinburgh, and it's like a Christmas market, and it's like mobbed. And I mean, this phone that I've got, a Samsung thing, it's great. I'll go delete that, and then before I know it, I've got a photograph of Ava standing next to Edinburgh Castle, and there's nobody else in the picture.
Yeah,
it's indistinguishable, and that's using a bloody phone.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, people that photo bomb and that, they get annoying, and then you basically, it doesn't matter that because I can get rid of that later on. It's not a problem.
Yeah, I know. Listen, mate, just one last one, and I should maybe keep it for another one, but I'm going to do it anyway. Just we'll try and keep it quick. Obviously, we know in the 80s, you kind of alluded to earlier on about back in the early 80s, and it was a great time to be alive. When you wanted to buy a computer, it's like, what computer am I going to get? Am I going to get a Commodore 64? Am I going to get a BBC? Am I going to get Atari? An Oric, a ZX81, a Spectrum, a Dragon 32, a Lynx? There was all these, and it was great. Like, what one am I going to buy? What will I buy? What will I buy? And then within maybe 3-4 years later on, it was like, well, you're either going to buy a Commodore 64 or a Spectrum, and that was it. What do you think was the reason why some 8-bits flourished like the Commodore 64 and Spectrum, and what caused other machines to die? Because some of these computers that I thought were like shit, like the Texas or whatever it was, when you look back now and you get games that you think that was actually a very capable machine. What do you think caused some 8-bits just to crash and burn, and why 2 or 3 succeeded? What do you think the reason was?
That's an interesting question. I have to. I mean, I can only tell you how I chose mine, and for a lot of families, it would have been price. You know,
What was available, I suppose.
yeah. You know, I mean, I lived in a small town. If you wanted a machine specifically, they'd order it. But you went into a Dixon's or a Curry's or a specialist computer store, and they were selling just that particular type of model. You know, the one of the shops that I went into was only selling Atari, Commodore 64, and what was the other machine? Oh, an Apple, right? And they took trade-ins. You could bring in an Oric and all that sort of stuff, and you'd go away with an Atari 800 or a Commodore or whatever it was. But I don't think every city and town had that type of offer. So you bought things from Dixon's and Curry's, and what did they have? They'd have the ColecoVision, the Atari VCS in the Windows, and when it came to the computers, they'd have the big ones that were popular. So it'd be Amstrad, Commodore 64, Spectrum, and you wouldn't see a Memotech, you wouldn't see an Einstein. W.H. Smith had an exclusivity, I think, for Dragon 32 for a while.
I remember seeing the Mattel Aquarius. I remember seeing that. And what they used to do was they used to put the. Oh no, I'm getting muddled up. I'm thinking of the old like Astro Wars and that. They used to like have them on the wall, whatever it was. But yeah, I can certainly remember seeing the white. It was a white computer with the blue keys. It was a horrible, horrible machine. Ox has said, what has he said? He said accessibility, capability, and price. I would agree with the first one and the second one. I mean, yeah, you could go into any shop and buy a Spectrum. You could buy a Commodore 64. I would disagree with capabilities because technically, if it was based on capabilities, the Spectrum would have probably not have sold, and the MSX would have done better. The Atari would have done better. The price is a big one. The price was
you said it yourself as well. There were schools,
yeah,
and they had certain computers in there, and then there was I'm going to buy this magazine that comes out every 2 weeks that teaches me about computers. And you'd buy a part guide that told you how to do it, and it would always be Commodore 64s and stuff in there. And then the magazines would tell you what's coming out, and you'd see month by month by month the biggest amount of games were coming out on the Spectrum and the Commodore 64.
Yeah,
and,
I think you've pretty much nailed it. Games. I mean, the availability of games.
Yeah.
It was the games had the Oric had the Oric had a massive catalogue of games, and everybody at school had the Oric. Then the Oric would have won the race. The Spectrum, obviously, Sir Clive Sinclair. Yeah, he. I was going to say computers for the what was it? No, it was Jack Jamil that said computers for the classes, not the masses.
The masses, not the classes.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, the masses, not the classes. I got it the wrong way around. Yeah, Sir Clive Sinclair wanted to put a computer in every kind of house, and it was that's what made the Spectrum so popular. The price, so everybody bought one, and then when people, I mean, I was an adult, so I didn't have the playground thing that people talk about. But back in kids that did have Spectrums, whatever it was, at Christmas time, oh, I'm getting a computer for my Christmas. Oh, I've got this game.
Just also think we had that we had the explosion of the computer literacy project. You had Micro Live,
yeah.
So on TV you had would the BBC had sold as well as it did if it weren't for the fact Micro Live was on TV and Tomorrow's World. You know what I mean? It was like everywhere. Do you see what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And so from that point of view, I would turn around and say, just because the school had the BBCB wouldn't have sold half as many if it weren't for the fact Micro Live was there. And every time you saw a BBCB, every week there would be a BBCB. Not every week would you see a Commodore 64
Yeah.
or a
Yeah.
Spectrum, but those sold well. And they sold
Yeah.
well because of the games, which is what I was just turning around
Yeah.
and saying.
Because I mean, these we're talking the early 80s. There was no such thing as the internet, so it
No.
was the only way we got to see computers was the TV, and it was like generally it was the BBC. But you got to see computer video games and the Commodore 64. Oh, this fantastic computer that's come from America. It's really powerful. Blah, blah, blah. So yeah, very quickly the C64 and Spectrum established themselves as the computers that everybody was buying. So the poor sod that had just been given a Dragon 32 for Christmas, the next year he'd be getting a paper round to sell it to then buy a Commodore 64. So I think, yeah, I would say probably price and games, and I think that's what pretty much drove, because there was lots of good. And one thing I just wanted to say, there was lots of cracking computers that fell by the wayside, and you can actually apply that to consoles. If you think about the Game Boy came out, the Game Boy was black and white with a very, very, very low resolution. The Game Gear came out, which was almost, well, it was, it was a Master System on a small form factor handheld. Then the Atari Lynx was phenomenal. If you were to list them in capability, the Atari Lynx blew the Game Boy out of the water.
It had an Amiga Blitter in it.
Yeah, it was incredible. Yeah, what one died first? The Game Gear, then the Lynx. The Game Boy sold 1 trillion, probably 100 times more.
The Nomad, which was the Genesis cartridge.
So it wasn't the best. It wasn't the capabilities. It was the price, and obviously you start getting good games. I mean, I think the thing that really kind of fucked the Atari Lynx and the Game Gear was the fact that the batteries, it ate batteries like nothing on earth. I didn't have any of these machines, so I had a Game Boy. But the Game Boy, you could maybe get 2 or 3 days out of it, if not more. It's funny. I was talking to a mate a couple of weeks ago, and we're talking about. Oh no, it wasn't. No, it was Lawn Boys post. We did the Christmas one. We ended up looking at pictures of bloody batteries. It was ever ready, and there's like the red ones and the blue ones, and even seeing a picture of a battery was really nostalgic. But yeah, these machines, they ate batteries, and back in the 70s or 80s, the batteries were really, really expensive compared to, you can go into a pound shop and buy like 50 batteries for like £2. Yeah, they're probably shit, but I think the technology that they had in the batteries back then is crap compared to what you've got now. So people, yeah, it was because of that. I think the Game Boy became the successful one. It was the one that people bought.
I think later on it became the manufacturer as well. I mean, at the end of the day, you were in safe hands with Nintendo. You're in obscurity when it comes to Xbox because it was Microsoft, and you went, well, they've never made a console before in their lives.
Yeah,
Nintendo have done something since 1985 as a console. Sometimes names also brands, I suppose.
Yeah, that had the backing of Nintendo as well, which was massive. And another one which I can still remember. I can remember as a kid going into Woolco department store, and there was the Intellivision, and it was always the football game or soccer, I think it was called. And that the Intellivision, there was a ColecoVision with an arcade perfect Donkey Kong, and then you had the Atari 2600, which looked completely shit. What one was the success there? You know what I mean? The Atari 800. It's
although in my Currys and Dixons, they actually weren't showing Donkey Kong. It was Lock and Chase.
Oh, really? And yeah, even though that was the pack-in game for it.
Yeah.
And the mental thing is, I can remember going into Woolworths or Woolco,
the Vectrex,
and well, yeah, in front of you was the record department of the store, and for some bizarre reason, they had the Vectrex had this like stand with the Vectrex and had it on. They had this displayed in the record department, and I remember looking at it, and I didn't quite know what this thing was. I'm like, is that like a video game? And it was like, what are these strange looking lines? Weird. And then you turned to your right and you went up to the video games department and you had, or the TV department, and you had the ColecoVision, you had the Intellivision, and then you had the Atari. Again, if you put them in superior order, the ColecoVision blew the other two at the water. The Intellivision, I think, was a more powerful system. But the Atari 2600 was the one that won the war. It
Yeah.
had obviously all the licensing, so you could play the official Defender, the official Centipede, all these games, you know. But no, I think it's an interesting topic to kind of talk about. But yeah, the Spectrum done so well because obviously the price, and when people actually realise, wait a minute, yeah, it looks fucking shit, but you can actually make some great games, and you know the rest is history, as they say.
Yeah.
Any questions before we call it a night? What's Steve saying? Steve the cunt. The reason I sold my original BBC and bought a Spectrum. What was it? The reason I sold my original BBC and bought a Spectrum was games. Yeah, you couldn't get games for the BBC.
Well, do you
Fuck
remember you
Ellie.
went into the shelves and you had a rack of 64 Spectrum, and in the corner you'd have about 6 tapes of BBC. You know what I mean? You were just turning around and going, I ain't sticking with this anymore. It's like I can't find the damn games for the damn thing. So it must have been the same for the TRS-80 for you. You know, it was like, what?
Oh, the Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I got rid of my Texas before video game shops even popped up. But yeah. Anyway, folks, listen, it's getting on. It's 11:10.
Can
I'm
I
going to
just say this?
Yeah, of course.
Rest
Of
in
course.
peace, Stuart Chaffee. I think that's pronounced how you pronounce his names.
Who is he, Dale? You mentioned him.
LGR introduced me to the computer show, The Computer Chronicles, which is an American show, a bit like Micro Live. And he died in December
Oh,
28th last year. And he, for 20 years, every week, you could watch a computer show over there, and it was everything: Commodore 64, PCs, everything. I mean, you could download and watch on YouTube all of the Computer Chronicles stuff. I've been engrossed the last 2 weeks watching these shows because I never really watched them much. And there's all the CES shows, Buyers Guys. He died. Such a shame. And if you do watch that show, you'll be engrossed with yourself. And that's just wanting to say that because there's not much coverage of it, and he was a nice guy. If you ever watch the show, it's like
so
watching games.
is it a YouTube channel or was it actually a program?
It was a program that was a PBS. It was shown broadcast in San Francisco, California, that sort of thing, on a PBS type channel every week for 20 years. You could download the lot from Computer Archive.
I think how many came out? Like hundreds.
Hundreds.
Oh, right.
Hundreds of episodes.
And like half an hour each or something.
Half an hour each.
Oh, I'll need. I when you mentioned it, I thought it was a YouTube channel, but no, I think I know what you're talking about. I'll need to go and have a look at that. Fuck, I just realised I got a big bloody grey bit in my beard there. Fuck's sake. Fucking hell, I'll need to sit back again so nobody can see me. Jesus. Fucking hell.
But
anyway,
I wanted to say that.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say rest in peace because I don't.
No, absolutely, yeah. Another little bit of our history has been chipped away. So listen, folks. I just want to thank you, Craig. As you know, to be fair, I think I did give you like 2 hours notice. It wasn't last minute. Good to have you on, mate. I needed this. I absolutely needed this. I've not been putting out an awful lot. I've just had an awful lot going on. I've not done an awful lot of kind of videos recently, and I do enjoy the live streams, but they don't replace this getting together with a mate who's got the same intellect and interest in games and just being really nerdy and talking about old computers. I had to kind of, sometimes it's nice to take a step back away from something that you enjoy, and then you then remember why you love it so much. So this has been great. Thank you very much for joining me, mate. You know, it's always good to have you on, and it's nice to see a decent turnout tonight. Yeah, always appreciate it.
Yeah, I've had a blast. Thank you so much. Always a blast to come on and speak to an old mate, just like as if we were in a pub discussing something brilliant. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. So listen, folks, I'm going to bid you good night. I hope you have an excellent weekend. Yeah, I'm not going to be doing anything. There'll be no videos from me next week because I'm not here. But I will be getting back on the horse, so to speak, when I get back. So finally, folks, thank you very, very much for watching, and cheers, Del. Take care. Have a
Salute
nice
to
weekend.
everyone. Thank you so much.
Cheers, guys. Bye.
Bye.